am so excited to be here at Solv 25. I've spent over 20 years in learning and development across many different industries, 10 years in financial services, 10 years in insurance and software as a service, and now I'm in renewable energy. And one thing, even though the sectors have changed, that hasn't changed is my passion for making sure that our employees have what they need to be successful in their roles. Now, one thing in learning and development, it's my job to make sure we all learn something new. So if you didn't know this, science tells us that laughter helps you learn. It also helps relieve stress and anxiety. So I'm not sure which of those you guys need it for now, but I'm maybe going to use it to help myself learn a little. So I'm going to tell a little joke just to kick us off. We've had some ice cream. You guys ready for this? Yeah. And for those that got to hear my joke last night, it is not the same one, I promise. All right, so why did the pig go into the kitchen? Because he felt like bacon. Come on, you guys have to laugh. There, now we can all learn. All right, so at Solv Energy, I serve as the organizational learning manager where I support our trainers and training that happens across our entire organization. And my sweet spot in learning and development is in performance support, making sure that our employees at every stage of their tenure, from brand new onboarding employee all the way to mastery, have access to the right information at the right time. And I believe that when that happens, our employees aren't just more productive, they're more confident, they're more engaged, and they're more empowered. So today I'm going to be sharing with you, and before I jump into our journey with RAE, I just want to say, like for those of you, I know there's been some talk about where does knowledge management live within your organization. Clearly at my organization, knowledge management lives within our talent development and learning team because we see this as the foundation for how our employees learn and grow and stay with our company. So today I'm going to be sharing about our company's journey with RAE, which is Solv Energy's Rapid Answer Expert. I've heard a few comments back and forth today talking about like speed, and that's going to be a theme you're going to hear as well, and was so important to us that it's part of the name of our tool, Rapid Answer Expert. So RAE is our internal AI-driven knowledge base powered by eGain. We launched our 3-month pilot with RAE in March, and then we launched company-wide in July. And RAE is already transforming how our teams access and use knowledge. I'm going to walk you through the moments that sparked our initiative, the challenges that we faced along the way, and then the results that we saw. So let me take you back to the moments that made it clear we needed a better way to support our employees. So Solv Energy is a leading provider of infrastructure services to the power industry. This includes engineering, procurement, construction, commissioning, testing, operations, maintenance, and repowering, and we are growing fast. We have over 1,600 employees. That number was about 1,100 about a year ago. So over 1,600 employees spread across 14 different offices, and we have hundreds of active project sites right now. Our teams work in different areas like engineering, so we've got electrical engineers on our teams, we have procurement specialists, we have folks out in the field literally constructing our solar sites, and so we've got people in many different areas. Some of our employees are in an office setting in one of those 14 offices. Some of them work remotely in the home office like I do. Shout out to the Midwest. I know we've got at least one other Midwesterner here. And then we have several of our employees who work out in a field, in a remote area of, let's say, Oklahoma, Texas, right? And so they're out there in these very remote areas, out in the elements, doing the job day to day. And what we realized is we have a complex life cycle of information with massive amounts of evolving information. And then we have employees that have very, very different knowledge needs and, more importantly, habits. So I'm going to tell you what it was like before RAE. So before RAE, if someone needed an answer, whether it was about troubleshooting a solar inverter or referencing site-specific documentation, they'd often resort to going to Outlook, looking through their email. Microsoft's got a pretty good search engine, so they'd search, right? And then they'd read and read and read that mountain of email string. Or maybe they'd open up Teams and chat someone and wait for them to get back to them. Or they'd, walk 1.5 miles across the site to go find their supervisor or the superintendent to ask them a question. Or my personal favorite, the seemingly endless click path from folder to folder to folder. Anyone? SharePoint? No one? Okay, we've got at least one. All right. So while this worked for a while, it's created a ripple effect of interruptions, delays, and inconsistent knowledge sharing. So according to a 2022 report from Panopto and YouGov, US businesses lose approximately $47 million, that's an M, million dollars in productivity every year per 1,000 employees. So I know we've got some companies here that are smaller, some are larger. Just think about that number for your organization. $47 million per year per 1,000 employees based on time spent looking for information. So I've been at Solv Energy now for just over a year. In fact, it was probably almost exactly a year ago now. I had gone through onboarding, started in July. A few months in, I like to take time off around Veterans Day because my birthday's around there. And so I wanted to know if we at Solv Energy had Veterans Day as a paid holiday. Came from the banking side of the world where you got everything as a paid holiday, and I wasn't sure about Solv. So I remember during onboarding there was this document that listed out our holidays. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go find this document, figure this out, right? So I went to SharePoint, typed in holiday schedule. 4 documents come back along with a bunch of other stuff, right? 4 documents, all basically look the same, kind of same title, etc. One of them is titled Z Holiday Schedule. Now, I know enough, I've been around long enough, I did not take that to mean that this is the one and only document. It is not Z Holiday Schedule. It was archived, but there it was for all the world to see. So then I focused on the other 3. One of those had a date on it that looked to be from 2023. Not something I needed as far as I knew, so now I'm focusing on 2 other documents. Got it narrowed down. Of those 2 documents, exact same title, exact same date. The difference on these, the owner. So I look at the owner, the first one. My friend in HR. Surely this is the document I'm looking for, right? HR, holiday schedule, they make those rules, right? So I opened that document, it was for 2023. So I clicked out of the document, went backwards, right? Look at all those clicks. Get back to my list of 4, and I'm like, okay, it's gotta be the other one. This one, however, had a name on it of someone I didn't know. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna peek. So I open the document, click on the document, open it up, looking at the document, it's 2024, looks right, who the heck is that? So now I don't trust the information. So I take the name, I go to a whole new context, to our HRIS tool, Google them in our tool, figure out like who is this, still doesn't help. So who's their manager? Nope, back up another manager. That's a lot of clicks, guys. All to find out there's no reason that this person's name should be on this document, and I don't trust it. So I went back to where I was, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? So I'm like, well, there's this one that was dated 2023. Just for fun, let's just look at that. Open it up, it's the exact same as the one from the guy I didn't know. And so I'm like, but the date is wrong. So now I'm really questioning everything at this moment. So what did I do? I opened Teams, sent a message to my manager. Now, I mentioned I work remotely out of an office in Fargo, North Dakota, Central Time Zone. Our company is based out of San Diego. My manager lives in San Diego. I sent her a message in the morning because that's when I do my best work. looking for time off. And so there I am, sending her this message, and now I have to wait 2 hours for her to get online, see my message. Now, do you see where this money goes looking for information? That story underscores the enormous financial impact that inefficient knowledge management can have. We realized at Solv that every minute spent not doing the job was something that financially we just didn't want to have to continue down. And what was worse with them not finding the answers is that sometimes when an employee can't find the answer, they make stuff up. And we work with megawatts of power. I'm sure I don't have to tell you how costly that could be. And that was our moment. We knew we needed a better way with a centralized intelligence system that could deliver fast, accurate answers tailored to a specific role or task. And our goal was bold but simple. 2 clicks or 10 seconds to an answer. That's my goal. So this vision, 2 clicks or 10 seconds to answer, isn't just my brainchild, even though it kind of was something I sort of pulled out of my hat when someone asked one day, but it is inspired directly by best practices in learning and development, specifically these things called the 5 moments of need, coined by Bob Mosher. But Bob basically says that there are 5 moments where somebody needs to learn. And it's important in our organizations that we're prepared to support our employees in those 5 moments. Those 5 moments are, number 1, when you're seeking to apply new information. This looks like you are a brand new employee and came from financial services and insurance background, so I'm going to use that story in our call center. We put you in a chair. We train you, right? You don't have to answer that question for 3 months. Do you remember anything you learned in that chair on day 2 of your employment? The answer is no. So when you get ready to apply that information, you need that support. When you're adapting to change, anybody going through any changes in your organization? I didn't think so. So you can skip that one. What about when you need to learn something new? Like, yes, you learned that, but now you need to learn a new nuance to that information. Another time you need that support. This is another area, moment of need, when something goes wrong. You know how to do it when everything's perfect, but what about when it doesn't go just right? Now you need that support. And lastly, upskilling. This upskill is like a buzzword. It has been for about the last 7 years in learning and development, but this is what we're trying to do in our different organizations, is we're trying to do more with less and trying to adjust to AI, and maybe AI is going to take these people's jobs, so now what do we do with them? I don't buy that, but that's what a lot of people are saying. And so the term upskill has come in a lot, but that's a true skill. Like, you have somebody that's at one juncture in their career. We want to keep them in our organizations, so how do we help them move up into that next skill, right? And that's another thing that these 5 moments of need address. And the faster and more intuitively that we can deliver answers in these 5 moments, the more effective and confident our teams become. And by designing for rapid access, we're meeting people precisely when and where the need arises, and then we transform learning from a chore into an empowering, seamless experience. Of course, knowing that we needed a solution was just the beginning. The real challenge was building something that could handle the complexity of our organization while scaling for future needs. And I'm not arrogant enough to think that this is only Solv Energy's problem statement right there. I think there's probably several out here that have that same complexity, scaling thing at their hands. But Solv's growth meant that we had a constantly expanding body of knowledge, Our field teams need technical troubleshooting guides. Our environmental compliance teams need access to regulatory documentation. Our project managers needed process workflows. And all of it needs to be accurate, up-to-date, and easy to find. We also had to overcome a deeply ingrained culture of peer-to-peer knowledge sharing. People were used to asking their neighbor or their supervisor for help. And that's great for collaboration, but it's not scalable and it's not always reliable. And because of this ingrained culture, we rarely had documented procedures. So going into this, we asked ourselves 3 questions. Question 1, how do we reduce dependency on tribal knowledge? One of our first steps was to hire a content specialist. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Hannah, who's on my team. She's here with me. She is our content specialist. It was her expertise that was instrumental in initiating a systematic approach. She began working closely with the various teams in our organization to identify the content that already existed. Because the question isn't if there's content, it's where is the content, right? And so she started working to figure out where that was, while also recognizing where there were gaps and opportunities for additional documentation. And by mapping out where knowledge was siloed, we could prioritize capturing critical information and ensuring that it was successful or accessible for everyone and not just to the chosen few or those who happen to be in the know. The next question we asked, how do we encourage self-sufficiency and continuous learning? To foster a culture of independence, we migrated all company-wide information into our new system, RAE. This included policies, frequently asked questions, and you got it, the holiday schedule. We wanted to make sure that these were the things that didn't require personalized answers. By centralizing these resources, we were able to focus on quick, accurate information, reducing the reliance on colleagues for routine queries, and encouraging ongoing learning as the knowledge base continued to expand. And lastly, we asked, how do we make sure the system grows with us? Early on, we recognized the importance of selecting a tool that could handle single sourcing of content effectively. This meant that as our organization evolves, we can update information in one place and have it reflected everywhere that it's needed, preventing duplication, inconsistencies, and documents titled with a Z. This approach not only streamlined our content management, but it's also ensured that our knowledge base would scale seamlessly alongside of our business. And that is where eGain came in. We saw the potential to build a smart, searchable, personalized, role-specific, AI-driven knowledge base that could meet employees where they are, whether they're in the field, in an office, or on the go. So how did we go from recognizing the problem to building our solution? At Solv, we knew we couldn't just throw another tool at it. We needed something that would truly change how employees access knowledge, something that would meet them in their moment of need, not hours or days later. And that's where RAE, our rapid answer expert, came in. We partnered with eGain to build a knowledge base that wasn't just smart. It was fast, intuitive, and role-specific. Our goal was bold, 2 clicks or 10 seconds to an answer, and that has become our North Star. We started with a pilot. We didn't try to boil the ocean. We focused on high-impact roles, our commissioning teams, operations staff, people who need answers to keep our projects moving. We designed RAE with 3 core principles. Speed. Answers have to be fast. No digging through folders, no waiting for someone to reply. The interface had to be intuitive. If it wasn't easy to use, we knew our users wouldn't use it. Also, we wanted a solution that didn't need training. Instead of providing training to our pilot users and the rest of our company on how to use RAE, we created a pretty cool hype video showing RAE in action and let it go. and relevance. The content had to deliver. And if not, we needed an easy way for people to let us know and provide that feedback. We branded RAE internally. This wasn't just another system, it's become part of our language. Have you asked RAE has become a common phrase at Solv. Now, if someone comes to me as a supervisor and asks me a question, I go and say, have you asked RAE? Or if I don't know if it's even in there, I might search RAE first and then send them to RAE. RAE wasn't just a tech rollout, it's a mindset shift. It's about empowering employees to find the answers on their own, quickly and confidently. So now I'm going to tell you about what happened during our pilot. Within just 3 months, the results were clear and exciting. Nearly half of our pilot users were finding the answers to their questions in under 1 minute. Now I'm going to recognize this is not under 10 seconds. So we are not at goal yet, but we are leaps and bounds above where we were, but we are still striving to meet that 10-second answer time. Accuracy has improved dramatically. 42% of our users find what they're looking for on the first attempt. No longer are they looking at 4 documents wondering which one is the right one. And satisfaction, 51% of our users said they're satisfied or very satisfied with RAE. Again, this is a 3-month pilot, so we were very, very happy with those results. And then the real story is in the productivity gains. 53% of users said that they were personally more productive because of RAE. And get this, 27% said that their teams as a whole are more productive. That's not just time saved, that's better business outcomes. We also saw a shift in behavior. 42% of our users changed their search habits, going to RAE first instead of reaching out to a colleague or digging through old files. And this is something I love. 42% of our users shared RAE answers with their coworkers. That means the value of the system is multiplying across teams. We didn't restrict it during our pilot. We let the masses have it because people were just sharing it, and everybody's like, wait, I want in, I want in. So they just shared away. However, RAE didn't just help people find answers. It helped them learn. Now, I'm in the business of learning. 56% of users said they learned something new using RAE. That is fantastic in my book. And then 64% of our users felt confident applying what they found to their role-related need as opposed to finding an answer and still having to dig because you don't trust what you found. So what did we learn and where are we headed next? And this is what performance support looks like when it's done right. It's not just about saving time. It's about building confidence, reducing risk, and creating a culture of self-sufficiency. So the first lesson that we learned, role-specific content is everything. If the answer isn't tailored to the person asking, it's not actually useful. This is an area where we have room to continue to grow, and we're diligently working to make sure that RAE speaks the language and particulars of the roles for our folks within our organization. Second, governance matters. We built a content lifecycle, review, update, retire. You guys are in knowledge management, you get it. Alongside that review process with SMEs and stakeholders. We haven't even hit our 1 year up for review cycle yet. But because of the feedback loops we've built in, none of our content that went in at the beginning hasn't been touched at this point because people give us that thumbs up. They give us the, hey, this little wording is wrong, or hey, it'd be nice to have a link here to this thing. So we're constantly taking that feedback in. Third, feedback is fuel. We're constantly listening to our users, refining the experience, and improving the content. We're currently sitting at just over 90% acceptance rate of all the feedback we've received to date, which I think is phenomenal. And eGain has been such a great partner to us on this. Every time I've come to them with some sort of challenge or system experience or hairbrand idea, they continue to help me think through how best to address that item. So looking ahead, we're helping teams to add their team-specific content into RAE. We're actually about, right now, Hannah's our only trained author, and so we're actually about to start training other authors on eGain so that they can add their own content, and then it'll still go through workflows. Hannah will still approve before it goes live. The other thing we're really looking at is to explore deeper personalization. Just a harebrained idea I have, but imagine if the answers that our people get when they ask a question change based on the project site they're currently working, or maybe the phase of the project. We have pre-construction, we have closeout, like maybe the answer's different based on where the project's at, right? Like how can we get there? RAE is becoming more than a tool, it's becoming part of how we work. Our future goals include smarter instant answer recommendations, faster access to content, and deeper integration into the flow of work for our employees. Because at the end of the day, we're not just building a knowledge base. We're building a culture where employees feel empowered, supported, and confident every single day. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to share our journey. Please reach out. Would love to chat.